All right, welcome to the Krueg Show, everybody, on a Wednesday. And that guy walking on the other side of the screen is Dave Softy Mahler, the star of KJR Radio in Seattle, where tomorrow night the Niners will take on the Seahawks. Thursday night football. They're always dog meat matchups, but this one may be worth watching. What's going on, Dave? How are you, man? Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you as well, Larry. And I had to maneuver myself to be in front of the gigantic iHeart logo we have here in the studio. You see that right there? Because the boss is always yelling at us when we go on podcasts or TV shows or whatever. How come you're not in front of the iHeart logo? Well, the real answer is just nobody gives a shit. That's why. But I thought if there's a chance that he's watching, I would get myself in front of the iHeart logo. Look at these fancy studios, man. Can you believe this place? Oh, yeah. And if you didn't catch the first iHeart logo, there's another one. There's another one. There's another one over there. And there's going to be one more over there. So there you go. I'm in iHeart land, baby.
Where's the KJR stuff? Do you have any KJR stuff?
It's on some remote, but I got no idea how to use it, man. I got to be honest with you. This stuff is way over my head, dude. So, by the way, that open that you have for this podcast, that is the coolest open I've ever seen for a podcast, at least today. Okay?
You like that?
I'm telling you. Station, the old radio station that you used to work for. By the way, are you back? I'm confused now. You gotta make.
So I do both. I'm doing a lot of things. I'm doing my own YouTube channel.
Okay.
I'm doing part-time right now and the Niner pre and post on 95.7 The Game in San Francisco.
Okay.
KMBR's rival station. So I'm now on there.
Okay.
And I also do a Niner pre and post game show for Talk Sport out of London. That airs in the UK. So I'm doing like 3 different things right now. And obviously this is for my YouTube channel, but yeah, I'm doing a little radio, doing a little YouTube, doing a little international radio, and just kind of, taking it as it comes.
So you're telling me that after all the crap that you put out on the air on KNBR, the Game still hired you?
Only part-time. Only part-time. We'll see if they go full-time.
Wow.
Well, let's talk a little bit about this matchup, though. What are you expecting? First of all, tell me a little bit about the year that it's been for the Seahawks, because I know that they came in, they went with Geno. A lot of people thought, I mean, we talked earlier, you guys kind of all thought this is a year to kind of rebuild, get a good draft pick, find your quarterback of the future in next year's draft, and kind of take it from there, and a reset post-Russell Wilson. But then Geno started playing well. And you guys started winning games, and then you were a playoff team. But it's like I feel like the clock has struck midnight, and you guys have turned into a pumpkin, and you're sliding out of the playoff picture now. What's give me the behind the scenes Seahawks season?
Well, I mean, that's pretty much it. See you later. You just described the whole thing. I mean, that's it. I mean, nobody would have thought, even the most optimistic people walking the face of the earth in Seattle, I guess, Larry, would have thought that, in the middle of December, we'd be sitting here talking about the Seahawks having a chance to make the playoffs. And obviously right now they're on the outside looking in, as you said, with that loss to Carolina last week, the loss to the Raiders at home 3 weeks ago. The Seahawks have not won a home game, I think, since the early part of November. It's been that long since they've won a game at home, because they had the bye, they had the Germany game, and they lost the last 2 with Carolina and the Raiders. So they're looking to do something they have not done in like 7 weeks, dude. It's unbelievable how all of a sudden they just have not been able to turn this place into a big advantage for them. But they don't have the talent. I mean, the defense is regressing. The defense is playing a bunch of young guys, including a bunch of guys in the secondary. They're kind of hitting that rookie wall. The offensive line is starting to hit a rookie wall with 2 rookies, and Charles Cross at left tackle and Abe Lucas at right tackle. Kenny Walker, their great running back, the rookie from Michigan State. Not even sure if he's playing tomorrow, Larry. He's been banged up, and has missed a couple of games here. So if he can't go tomorrow, the Seahawks are in big trouble. There's no doubt, because they can't run the ball. They have not had a running back go over 37 yards in a game for 4 games, which is crazy to think in 2022. Just by default, they can't have a guy break, 50, 60 yards in a game. So that's problem number one. And then the other problem is that teams are just gashing them on the ground, which is what the Niners do, obviously, right? Obviously, Debo's a part of that, and he's not going to play tomorrow, which is great for the Seahawks. But if I'm Kyle Shanahan, I'm running the ball. I mean, I got my 15 scripted plays to start the game, and every single one of them better be a run until the Seahawks prove they can stop it, because they have not shown they can stop anybody on the ground in the last month and a half. So I have no idea why the Niners would not run the ball 50 times in this game tomorrow night.
Are you surprised that the spread is what it is? I thought it would be Niners by 6, Niners by 7. Instead, it's like hovering around 3, 3.5, maybe going to 4. What, are you surprised by that? It seems like everybody's on the Seattle Seahawks in this one.
Yeah, not really. I think some of that's got to do with who's playing quarterback for you guys. I mean, nobody knows, right? Is it going to be Josh Johnson? Is it going to be Brock Purdy? And even if it's Brock Purdy, I mean, look, there's a big drop, right, from where you guys were at quarterback. And I know a lot of people would dispute that, but I think the amount of, the infrequency in which they're throwing the ball down there shows you that Kyle Shanahan does not want to let Brock Purdy or anybody else mess this thing up when they have that great defense on the opposite side. I think it's a fair approach by him. But, look, I mean, Seattle in primetime games under Pete Carroll has been outstanding. Right. But that was with Russell Wilson. That was with Marshawn Lynch and Richard Sherman and the LOB and a totally different roster. So I'm curious to see what happens tomorrow in this game. Pete Carroll's primetime record, as I said, is really, really good. But this is a different group now. It's banged up. They're inexperienced. Their defense is getting shoved around. So I'm not really surprised by the line, Larry, for tomorrow. But I guess if you put a gun to my head and said, who do you want? I would probably take the Niners to cover, and I would definitely play the under in this game tomorrow for sure. Absolutely.
Well, I don't know about that. Brock Purdy's been scoring touchdowns in the red zone. He looks really, really good. By the way, last week against Carolina, Panthers outrushed Seattle, speaking to what Dave just described, 223 to 46. Yeah, that is very un-Seahawk-like.
Yeah, no, it was awful. And again, it's been – Bruce Irvin even came out and just said, look, this is embarrassing because people are testing our manhood, really, when they just out-physical you. It's not like offensive coordinators are out-scheming Clint Hurt and Pete Carroll. They're just running guys over, and they're having a hard time tackling. And now that they're banged up, they're having an even harder time tackling. Look, there's no doubt, dude, they missed Bobby Wagner on this football team. I don't know if he was deserving of the big contract that he was looking for, but they're missing him. They've gone from Bobby Wagner and Jordan Brooks to Jordan Brooks and Cody Barton. And those guys are having a hard time. The defensive line is having a hard time getting off blocks. Safeties are having a hard time in the run game. There's nobody in the box right now like you had with Cam Chancellor back in the day that you trust to be a combo safety against the run, against the pass. They don't have that guy right now. Look, maybe they're missing Jamal Adams, right? You don't want to admit it because I thought Jamal Adams was greatly overpaid when he came to Seattle. Was not a big fan of Jamal Adams, the way he played out here, but there's nobody on that defense that is stepping up from a physical perspective and telling people this is the way you have to play football. And when Bruce Irvin, Larry, who was on his couch a month and a half ago, is playing 70% of the snaps on defense, there's a problem. I mean, that's not why this guy was brought here. This guy was brought here to be Crash Davis, and the rest of the defense was Nuke LaLoosh, right? Instead, he's all of a sudden being counted on to start and help you win games. So I'd be very surprised if San Francisco did something else besides just pound the rock tomorrow, starting in the first play of the game.
Geno Smith's a free agent at the end of the year. You've watched him all year. He's had a career renaissance. I think there's just a lot of people that are really, really excited about Geno's future. If you guys don't want him in the offseason, there will be a bidding war for him. He's got 25 touchdowns and 8 picks. He's thrown for over 3,400 yards. Is Seattle on the verge of extending him? Is he the quarterback of the future? I know he's not a kid. He's 32, but he's shown a lot this year, Dave. Are they wed to him, or are they still going to go into the draft early next year for a quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're trying to bring him back right now, but I think he wants to wait. The word I'm getting is that he wants to wait until free agency, right? I mean, Geno Smith has waited, Larry, his entire career to go to free agency after a year like this. And he's 4 months away. So I would be surprised, I guess, a little bit if he did not go to free agency and at least test the market, or at least get a little bit of an idea of what's out there and wait until the offseason to sign. But yeah, there's no doubt the Seahawks want him back. and it doesn't have to change anything they do in the draft. I mean, Larry, right now, as of tonight, the Seahawks have the number 2 pick in the draft because of Russell Wilson in Denver, and like four of the top 53 picks in the draft. So what you do with Geno Smith doesn't have to have any bearing at all on what you do in the draft. If you still like somebody and he's there, take him. Fine, go ahead. Then let the guy sit for a year or two. Learn the game from Geno Smith. Maybe he beats him out. I think what Geno Smith does is he gives you stability at quarterback. He's not awesome. He's not elite, but he's not terrible either. And we've seen some terrible quarterbacks in the NFL. And you're exactly right. Half the damn league is going to need a starting quarterback next season. I think there's going to be, including every team in the NFC South, by the way, I think there's going to be a bidding war for this guy. All it takes is one idiot GM to offer this guy $35 million, and he's out the door. So I think the Hawks would love to have him back right now, but I think Geno and his agent prefer to wait, which probably is a smart move.
Outside of Geno, give me the number one positive for the Seahawks this year, because it's been a surprising year.
Yeah. Outside of the injury, it's Kenny Walker. I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, if Rashad Penny doesn't go down in like week 3 or 4, we don't even see Kenny Walker, at least not at the level that we're seeing him right now, because Rashad Penny and him would have been splitting carries. And even he's missing the last couple of weeks. Even with that, he still is like, I think, number 2 or number 3 on the board for rookie of the year, offensive rookie of the year in the NFL. And they're a totally different team with him out there. I mean, he's incredible, this guy. And he doesn't have the greatest offensive line. He's got a decent offensive line, but not the greatest offensive line. And the way Kenny Walker can kind of, wait and wait, not like Le'Veon Bell, but kind of right below him with that style of play and then burst through the hole. He's amazing. And he's been absolutely by far, to me, the biggest surprise on this football team, or the biggest positive on this football team. Because let's face it, dude, outside of DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, they don't have a number 3 wide receiver that you can even name on this team. D. Eskridge, Marquise Goodwin, players like that. There's nobody on this team right now to complement DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. So I would just think that Kenny Walker and the way this running game performs when he's out there is the second most surprising thing and the second biggest positive behind Geno Smith for sure.
What do you think from afar of Brock Purdy?
I think he's fine. I've been asking everybody on my show, including Mike Florio and Kevin Harlan the last couple of weeks, is this defense so good in San Francisco that it doesn't matter who starts at quarterback? And everybody I've talked to has said yes. Yes, they are. Kind of reminds me of, I don't want to put Brock Purdy in the Trent Dilfer category with the Ravens when they won the whole thing in 2000, or the Brad Johnson category. And Brad Johnson actually had kind of a decent year. Kerry Collins, when he took the Giants to a Super Bowl. We've seen teams that are so great on defense, Larry, that it doesn't matter who the quarterback is. And my fear as a Seahawks fan is that this Niner defense is that good, or it doesn't freaking matter who the quarterback is. Now, not having Debo is a difference maker, right? That's been a massive security blanket for whoever's playing quarterback in San Francisco. So I think Brock Purdy's fine, but I think that defense is even better. And going back to your comment about the most surprising thing or the biggest positive, I got to mention Tariq Woolen, number 27. He's a fifth-round draft pick.
Oh, my God. He's
out
amazing.
of Texas, San Antonio. He's like number 5 in the NFL in passer rating allowed. This is a guy who, I kid you not, was on our show in August from training camp, and in no uncertain words, basically asked us to give him a break because he doesn't know a lot about playing corner. Literally said that. I can get you the interview. He's like, hey, man, I haven't played this position a lot. I don't really know what I'm doing.
Dave, he's the prototype.
Unbelievable. He's in the 99th percentile in almost every category from the combine. He is the absolute prototypical NFL corner, elite corner, long arms, wingspan, speed, reach, the whole thing. And he's the prototypical Carroll cornerback, which is even more important for us up here in Seattle. Dude, I'm watching quarterbacks not even throw this guy's way. This is a dude who a year ago, 2 years ago, was playing wide receiver at Texas San Antonio. And now I got quarterbacks that won't even look at the guy, for crying out loud. So I'm curious tomorrow night if you guys got the guts to put the ball in the air if you do it against number 27 tomorrow. Keep an eye on that.
Calva Kamiga says, how does a 6'4" corner that runs 4.28 in the 40 go undrafted until the 5th round?
Because
John Schneider, I think, is John Schneider is a great general manager. How do you feel about John?
Well, the answer is because he looked awful in college, because he was so raw, because he was just an athlete, right? I mean, there's a lot of athletes out there that can maybe do what Tariq Woolen can do, but they're not playing football. Maybe they're running track. Maybe they're playing basketball. Maybe they're playing baseball. This guy was a fish out of water, dude. He looked terrible at times playing corner for Texas San Antonio. Go back to the conference championship game from last year. He got torched in that game. So for John Schneider and Pete Carroll to look past all of that stuff and still draft this guy in the 5th round and make him their starting corner from game number 1 has taken a tremendous amount of foresight. But you're right, dude. It's not just Tariq Woolen. It's Kobe Bryant, the other corner. It's Ken Walker. It's Charles Cross. It's Abe Lucas. This might be the best draft the Seahawks have had since they took Russell Wilson and Bobby Wagner in 2012, because it's kind of fell apart there for a while. 2013, they drafted a kid named Kristen Michael. You may remember the running back at
A&M,
baby. You know who went with the pick directly behind Kristen Michael, by the way?
No.
A guy named Travis Kelce. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Don't feel bad. I think the Niners may have taken Vance McDonald 10 picks before that.
Yeah. Well, these guys took Malik McDowell with a pick before Budda Baker. Right. So everybody does it.
Pre-ATV. Yeah.
Those picks stand out. Holy cow.
Hey, Dave, are you going to Glendale with your show for the Super Bowl?
If the Hawks are in it, yes. If they're not, no. Why? You want to buy me a drink?
No, I was going to say we should wager on the game tomorrow night, and I'll buy you dinner in Arizona during Super Bowl week if the Niners lose, and you buy me a drink or dinner if the Hawks lose.
Well, I would just say this. I was a little concerned that you're asking me like to share a room with you or get a hotel or something. I'm like, what's Larry getting at here?
Yes.
So, no, unless the Hawks are in it, we likely will not be there in Glendale. But I'll make you a bet anyway, all right?
Okay.
Because I'll be down there in San Francisco at some point. One of my favorite restaurants, Skoma's on the wharf down there.
Nice. I was friends with Al Skoma.
There you go. May he rest in peace. You'll be up there at some point in Seattle. So am I getting points, though? Or are we doing straight up here? What are we talking about?
I'll give you whatever you want. You want points? You can have points.
What's the line right now?
I think it's 3.5.
Give me the 3.5.
I'll give you. How about this? I think it's 3. I think it's 3.
All right, give me 3. Give me 3.
Hawks plus 3.
You know what?
And we
How about this? How about this? Just to avoid a tie, which nobody likes, I'll take 2.5. Give me 2.5, and we'll get drinks and dinner. Okay.
There you go. Drinks and dinner. And last one, Mitch Haniger to the Giants. You're in Seattle. You watched the Mariners. They had a magical year. Give me your quick thought on Mitch Haniger before we say goodbye.
Well, he's never healthy. I mean, end of story. I mean, you saw my tweet last week, right? He's missed 260 games.
I basically took your tweet, kind of took the meat and potatoes of it, tweeted it out myself, and got like death threats.
Yeah, well, that's fine. That's better you than me. Okay, that's why I had you send it out. But I mean, look, he's a good player when he's healthy. He had kind of a rough end of the year, I thought, maybe because he wasn't totally back from all his injuries. But this is a guy who a couple years ago had the worst thing that could happen to a guy, a ruptured testicle. Okay. I mean, just saying the words ruptured testicle, it makes my skin crawl. You ever look up what a ruptured testicle looks like on Google Images? By the way, it's like throwing a pot sticker off your roof, man. It's unbelievable. You don't want to see it. All right. So trust me, I've seen it. I did the legwork, so you people don't have to. Good guy, good player, not a great player, but he's never healthy. He's got just this unbelievable rash of injuries, this plethora of injuries. And if I were you guys, I'd be like, wait a minute. I thought we were talking about Aaron Judge, and now we're talking about Mitch Haniger, who's going to play maybe 75, 80 games most for us in San Francisco. So I don't know. I'd be disappointed, but I got to ask you about Carlos Correa. 13 years, 380. Wow. Too much? Tell me. What
I don't even know if will I even be alive at the end of that deal.
I'm going to be 62 years old, buddy. 62. And I'm 49 now.
They had to do something, Dave. They had to do something. They're a crappy team. They're boring as hell. They had to do something. It's a lot. It's way too many years. But you know what? I would have ripped them if they didn't do it, so I can't rip them for doing it.
Well, I would love to have had him in Seattle. I would have moved J.P. Crawford to second base and put Carlos Correa at shortstop. But hey, man,
but you guys have Julio Rodriguez, man.
We do. We got Julio. We got Eugenio Suarez. We got Ty France. We got the big dumper Cal Raleigh. Phenomenal pitching staff. We're coming. We're coming for baseball, and you know it.
Dave, we had somebody in the chat who's like, where is it? It's like Dave's always caffeinated. He's always, here it is. Here we go. Softy's always great, super caffeinated, opinionated, great commentary. Hey, I know you got to jump. I'll see you on your show at 6 o'clock tonight.
Yeah, 6 p.m. Answer your phone. Don't forget, all right?
Thanks for stopping by. Dave Softy.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you gon' get exactly what you asked for. Here for whatever you bring me, getting handled. I answer to no one, I don't need to hassle. Yeah.